Hi, my name is Stefan Korshak. I'm the Senior Defense Correspondent for Kyiv Post newspaper. I'll preface this by saying I'm not predicting World War III, but it really looks to us here in Ukraine that a step or two is being taken in that direction. In July, the guys in the Kremlin apparently decided their bombardment campaign of Ukrainian homes and businesses and energy infrastructure needed some tweaking. And also, it seems like they wanted to pressure countries on the fence about Ukraine by spiking the price of grain in world grain markets, since Ukraine is one of the biggest exporters of grain in the world. So, the Russians started bombarding Ukrainian grain handling facilities, first big ones on the Black Sea. This primarily was two ports called Odessa and Chernомorsk. A lot of the Russian missiles got shot down, but the facilities were damaged, grain was burned, and so the grain shipment flow shifted to Ukrainian ports along the Danube River. This is right next to Romania, and Romania is a member of NATO. Since July, hundreds of Russian missiles and drones have flown along the Danube River, on the deck sometimes 100 meters from Romanian territory, and blowing up grain handling facilities and killing people less than half a kilometer away on the Ukrainian side of the river. Missile debris from some of these strikes has landed in Romanian territory. On Tuesday, Russian missiles hit a Ukrainian border checkpoint called Ordivka, also on the Danube River. Ferries run back and forth across the Danube here. It's a regular crossing point. European truckers use it pretty much every day. Meanwhile, over the Black Sea, another air war involving NATO has been in progress. Since the start of the war, NATO reconnaissance aircraft have been flying surveillance missions over international waters near Crimea. Both NATO and Ukrainian officials say they share military data, but they don't say what and how. This has made the Russians mad. In September alone, for instance, the Ukrainians fired something like a dozen British cruise missiles at the Russian Black Sea Fleet headquarters in Crimea. One set of explosions blew up a headquarters where a bunch of Russian military top brass were meeting. It's confirmed dozens of senior Russian officers died. Other missiles in this strike destroyed a pair of Russian warships, including a top-end missile launch submarine. As far as the Kremlin is concerned, those strikes were the direct result of NATO targeting data collected over the Black Sea and being turned over to the Ukrainians. So there have been incidents. In March, for instance, a Russian Su-27 fighter jet dumped fuel on a U.S. Air Force Reaper drone over the Black Sea near Crimea. In July, another Su-27 crashed into another U.S. Air Force Reaper, knocking the drone out of the sky. This month, we got an update from the British government. Back in 2022, a Russian Su-27 fighter pilot launched 2 missiles at a Royal Air Force surveillance plane over the Black Sea. The missiles malfunctioned, and at the time, both sides said it was an accident, it wasn't anger. Fast forward a year, and it turns out, no, it was actually a full-on attempt by a Russian fighter pilot to shoot down a NATO plane with 30 Royal Air Force crew aboard. So, close call. The Russians say they are just protecting their airspace and that they want peace. NATO is saying the Russian military operates unsafely and provocatively. Last weekend, the Americans deployed 4 F-16 fighter jets with pilots and ground crew from Germany to a Romanian airfield called Fetiști. This is one of Romania's main air defense airfields. They operate their own F-16s from it, and, wait for it, the air base is right up against the Danube River. This isn't the first time the U.S. has deployed F-16s to Romania's border. They did it last year as well, and the jets left. Right now, it looks like Russia believes NATO will do nothing meaningful to prevent Russian cruise missiles and kamikaze drones from attacking Ukraine, or Russian interference with NATO flights over the Black Sea. This is what, in the Cold War days, we would call a flashpoint, a potential flashpoint. Sooner or later, something is going to happen. An aircraft is going to get shot down. NATO civilians might get killed. A ship could get bombed. It could be intentional. More likely it will be an accident. But it's coming. The Ukrainians will keep on fighting the Russians in any case. They won't stop, that's for sure. The question we have in Kyiv is how long these Russian attacks against NATO military operations, citizens, and property will go on before soldiers from NATO and Russia wind up shooting at each other directly. It's a question we're thinking about. Thank you very much for listening. My name is Stefan Korshak, Kyiv Post newspaper.